Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the new Premier League pack on eFootball. As always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player, so if there's a particular player you want to hear about, click on the description, there'll be a link to take you straight to them. So we've got 11 players in here, all 5 stars, and we'll start with Enes Ünal. So we've had a few versions of Ünal previously. I think he's always been a fox in the box, got a face scan, standard form. He's been injured most of this season, unfortunately, so he's not going to get much form. Skill-wise, heading and aerial superiority, no first-time shot. So you really need to put first-time shot in this guy if you're going to get this guy and use him. First-time shot is a big miss. Got long-range curler though. Could do with acrobatic finishing as well. I think those are the first I've put on him. First-time shot and acrobatic finishing. He's not overly too fit, so maybe his outside curl as well. So he does need a few skills. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub. They're going to see how well he trains up. And he looks decent, to be fair. He doesn't look amazing. The most recent one from a Turkey pack was actually better than this one. I got that one from that Turkey pack. The one thing this one has over that is a little bit more pace, but pretty much everywhere else the one from the recent Turkey pack is better, and he's better overall. The older Turkey pack from a long time ago, and another one from some kind of Spanish League MVP pack, one of those yellow background cards, neither of those are quite as good as this one. So this isn't the best version of Ünal, it's just that one from the recent Turkey pack that's slightly better. But it's a decent looking card. The awareness is 90, finishing is almost at 90. It's not too bad on the ball. Pace is fairly average. You don't need too much pace on the fox in the box. Good kicking power, got some power behind his shots. Physical strength, he's got a bit. Balance, could be worse, but it's not great. Yeah, he's kind of an all-rounder. That's really what you want from a fox in the box. The awareness and finishing, the most important things. It's going to be a question of how you want to use him. So you do need a few skills, like I say. But he's got heading and aerial, 74 jumping though. His vertical reach won't be too great. Yeah, 265 roughly. Yeah, he's not going to be a beast in the air. He's just kind of have a bit of everything. I've got that one from the most recent Turkey pack that I mentioned. And he's been quite decent when I've used him. I've not used him a great deal. I've used him in the English League Challenge a few times. I do like him. I do like a fox in the box. They're good all-rounders for me with their movement. They don't just constantly dart in behind the defence. They'll sometimes come deep. They time their runs to get in the end of the crosses quite well, in my experience. A lot of people are doing a lot of crossing at the moment, so that might appeal to you. The way the training points are allocated here, I don't think there's a great deal of change. If you really want to focus on the fact he's got heading and aerial, he's a decent height. You could maybe start his points off dribbling. You can nick maybe his couple off dexterity, one off finishing. And then how good can we make him in the air? Not amazing. Put that last point on dribbling. You can get the vertical reach up to 270. Is it worth doing that? He's still not going to be a beast in the air. I'm not sure it's worth it personally. I think the auto allocation is near enough as good as you're going to get with this guy. He's got a bit of everything. I would give him, like I say, those skills: first time shot, acrobatic finishing, outside curler, and probably one touch pass and through passing to help compensate for his passing not being great. But there's not a great deal more I do with the point allocation, to be honest. I don't think you need to perform major surgery on him. I think he's a solid card. It's not an amazing one, but like I say, the version I've got, it is slightly better than this one. But I had the one before that as well, and that was decent for me. He's a good solid all-rounder. He can get on the end of crosses, even if he's not dominant in the air. He can certainly take chances. He'll pop up in the right place at the right time. The passing might not be great. Does need a few skills, but yeah. On the whole, it's not an amazing card. It's not the best version we've had of him, but if you don't have a version of this guy, and if you do spin his pack and you do get him, yes, he needs a few skills, but on the whole, he's a solid centre forward. I think for a lot of people, it could be a very usable one, especially for the English League Challenge. And before I forget, which I always seem to when I start on these league pack review videos, just to compare him to his GP card in terms of what they boosted the most, it's his tight possession, his pace, and his stamina. Basically, they've had the biggest boost from all of his attributes. So yeah, that's the kind of boost they get him from his GP card. And like I say, not an amazing one, but it's a pretty solid centre forward. And next we've got our first featured version of Abdukodir Khusanov, Man City centre back. He's got a face scan from Uzbekistan. Inconsistent form, was a bit harsh. Did have a dodgy start, but he seems to be settling in now. He's not got too many skills, but he's got some of the most important ones: man marking, search and aerial superiority. Block was probably the most important one he's lacking there, but you could do with a few. Maybe his heading. Is his heading any good? It's not too bad at level 1. Maybe his heading would definitely block acrobatic clearance, and then maybe his 1 or 2 passing skills. But let's go to the hub and we'll have a look at how well this card trains up. So it's looking pretty decent, to be fair. Down the middle, defensively he's strong. Pretty decent pace for a centre-back. The jumping, not brilliant. He's only 6'1", jumping 85, so his vertical reach is, okay, 271. So it's not too bad, his vertical reach. Physical contact, 88. It's okay, but I'd like to be a bit higher. I always like to be at least 90 or so. But yeah, on the whole, fairly strong, to be honest. I think if you gave this guy a few skills, it could be a pretty handy one. If you wanted to shuffle some points around, I think the obvious thing would be that you could take a couple off defending. You see the defending's up to 16, so if you took a couple off there, that's going to free up 8 points. That's quite a lot of points. You could easily just stick them straight on aerial. The physical contact would go up by 2, but the mark we're out on jumping, that's going to go up by 3 now. You see, you go from here, you go 86 to 88 with just 1, so that could be a nice, efficient way of doing that. The last one on dexterity, get the acceleration up to 80. I think that's a pretty straightforward build, to be honest. I think that's what I would do. I don't think I would. I don't think there's anything else that I'd do with that with him. You could leave him on auto allocation if you like, but I think it's worth giving him that bit of a boost to his physical strength and his jumping. Where's that jumping height there? So 273. It's not a massive increase, but an increase is an increase. I think it's worth doing. Still strong down the middle there. He's got pretty good pace actually for a centre back. So yeah, on the whole, he's pretty solid. And yeah, he just needs a few skills really. He's not desperately lacking skills, but blocker for me is the most important one. And like I said, acrobatic clearance. Heading 85, I don't think the heading skill will be too important on him. I wouldn't worry too much about heading. The most important thing is winning headers in the first place. With a centre-back, for the most part, you're going to be just heading the ball away from your goal. Heading mainly is about keeping headers downwards when you're doing attacking headers. Yes, it does help with kind of heading in general, I guess, but yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about the skill unless you're really going to, you can beef this guy up and use him in your team a lot. I would focus more on blocker, acrobatic clearance, then maybe some 1-2 passing skills. I'd give him 1-2 passing skills before heading, to be honest. But yeah, on the whole, you've got a pretty solid looking centre-back here. Other positions, you've got a few adjacent positions. You can make him a fullback or a defensive mid. I'm not sure that's going to be worth doing, but we'll take a quick look just for the sake of it. Defensive mid, that's the auto allocation for defensive mid. Absolutely horrific on the ball. Don't even think about that. I'm guessing fullback will be similar. Defensive right back, no, again, just awful on the ball. They put a few points in his technicals here, but yeah, I wouldn't do that at all. I think you're very much looking at this guy as a solid centre back. For the English League Challenge, it could be a really useful option to have for that. He does have inconsistent form, although as you can see here, plenty of A and B form. So yeah, for the English League Challenge, it could be certainly a very, very useful centre back to have. And to be fair, outside of the English League Challenge, he could be a decent enough one to have for your main squad, a decent option any week when he's got form. So yeah, I would shuffle a few points around like I did. Just a straightforward one there, just like that. That's what I did, isn't it? Yeah, I would do that. I like the look of that. He's got some pace, physically and aerially. You can certainly get him to around about the mark. The defence is all 90 plus. He's not brilliant on the ball, but yeah, 1 or 2 skills. He could be a very solid centre-back option for you. But again, I've forgotten to compare it to his GP cards, so I'll quickly do that. I'll try and remember the rest of the cards in this pack. So acceleration and stamina, big boost on his acceleration and stamina from his GP card. That's basically it. Apart from that, around about 3 or so. The rest of his attributes at level 1. Jumping's not had any boost. Physical contact's only been boosted by 1, so that's a bit of a shame. But yeah, acceleration and stamina certainly had a very big boost. So yeah, there you go. Solid centre-back option, that. And now we have our first ever version of Ethan Nwaneri. So he does have a face scan. He's a whole player. One interesting thing to note, there's been a bit of chatter in the Discord from the Arsenal fans about his height. He's apparently taller than that in real life, so he got a bit of a Xavi Simons situation. It looks like they will more than likely increase his height at some point. If you like his small, nimble players, it might be a great opportunity to get this version of Nwaneri, because that height will increase at some point. Those smaller players do tend to have that kind of, you notice that low centre of gravity. They're nimble, they're nippy, they're responsive on the ball. So yeah, something to maybe keep in mind there. But he's a left footer, he's a whole player. Attacking mid, can play on the right. A couple of semi-proficient positions there. Skill-wise, not a lot. Bit of a shame. So there's one slight downside. You often get that with young players. He's obviously very young, 17. But soul control, especially in long range curler and outside curler, I mean, all his skills could be good, depending, if you like his skill moves, maybe scissors, fake, and Marseille turn they give you, but certainly soul control's a handy one. Long range curler is an excellent one to have, and outside curler is nice as well. So you've got some nice skills there to start off, but one touch passing, through passing, definitely needed, especially if you're going to play him as an attacking midfielder. Beyond that, maybe it's heel trick, maybe it's long range shooting. But yeah, I think one touch and through are the two most important ones you need to put on him. But let's jump over to eFootball Hub and let's just have a look at how good this card is. So no previous highlight cards or player of the week or anything like that. To compare to the GP card, I'll actually remember this time. It's a pretty mixed boost they've given him, to be honest, this time. But the attributes they've boosted the most at level 1: tight possession, speed, and kicking power. Those are the ones that have had more of a boost than the other ones. So yeah, he's looking pretty nice on the ball, as you can see, over in the 90s there. All three of the on-the-ball attributes. Passing's okay-ish, but it's gonna be one of these cards. It depends on where you're gonna play this guy. If you play him as an attack midfielder, especially with the way that passing is now since the recent update, those passing attributes, they're a bit iffy for me. This is fully boosted in the game plan. I want that to be higher. So slight concern already with the passing if you're going to use him in that attack midfield position. Attack awareness is fine. Obviously on the ball he's great. Finishing is decent enough. Pace, yeah, plenty of pace for an attack midfielder. Not amazing kicking power, but it's at least in the 80s. Balance is good. Not a lot of physical strength. So he's obviously one of these players. He's small, he's nimble, but he's weak, and that is a concern. You know, a lot of my small, nimble players like this guy, who lack physical strength, are getting bodied online when you come up against not even just the kind of god squads, but even anyone who's got half decent defensive mids with any physical strength about them. As soon as you get up close to them with a player like this, you just get frozen. You just get bullied off the ball. So that's something to keep in mind, especially if you do play through the middle. Stamina is probably going to get tired late in the game. So yeah, the passing is a concern. Let's just have a look. Can we make that passing much better? I'm going to take his points off shooting as well. I'll probably just do that, actually. It was one on defending. Thank you. I'll put that back on shooting. Right, yeah. I would probably just do that. So the low pass, 88. I would still like it to be higher, but just to get it to the 88 mark, I think that's just about all right. We kept him at least 90 plus on the ball there. Yeah, not major surgery we've done there. Just slightly nudge the passing up a bit. I think that's worth doing. I think as an attack midfielder like that, small, nimble, little bit of pace about him, he's going to feel very responsive. He's going to be very nice on the ball. Give him one touch passing through passing. It could be a neat attack mid option, but like I say, that physical strength is a bit of a concern for me. So I wonder, could he be better on the right hand side? Whole player playing style, right midfield, he'll have that whole player playing style active. If you play him as a right wing forward, he will not have an active playing style. For some people that's a concern, for others not so much of a concern, but we'll do one build for right wing. So what we need to do is we need to take a few points back from passing and get him some more pace. So firstly, we're at that mark again with speed. We go up by 1, it will increase by 1, but then we're at 86. The next increase in speed, it goes up by 2. I think it's definitely worth it, at least going up to 10 on our body. So we get 88 speed, 88 acceleration. I'd be inclined to probably leave it there, to be honest. I'm not sure where else I'd put points. I'd be quite tempted actually to take another passing there, because the passing is not so important out wide. Get his finishing up to 80. 1 point spare, stick at an aerial. I would maybe do that. He's not got amazing pace for a winger, but for a guy who's as small as him, with very good balance, good on the ball, I think he's going to feel pretty nippy. I think that pace will be alright. The on the ball attributes, I think all 90 plus will be fine. He's going to feel nice on the ball. Passing not as important out wide, but I would still put one touch passing through passing on him. I think those attributes, if you give one touch passing through passing, will be absolutely fine on a wide man or coming off the right wing. Finishing up to 80, he's got long range curler, attacking awareness, still the same place, just over 80 with the whole player playing style. So from right midfield as a whole player, it could be a very neat option. Right wing forward without an active playing style, likewise, if you don't mind not having an active playing style, could be very useful there. So yeah, I personally prefer that to him as an attack midfielder. He is certainly usable as an attack midfielder, but when you're playing someone in the middle of the park, you're going to come against a lot more kind of physically strong players, whether it's the beefy kind of Vieiras and Hullits that you come up against, or whether it's just your average defensive midfielder. Players in that area of the pitch tend to be stronger physically. So you're gonna notice his lack of strength in those areas a lot more than you would out wide, where he's more likely to be up against fullbacks who aren't generally as strong physically. So I prefer looking at him as a right wing with this kind of a build. You do also have a centre forward. In fact, you could position training for a left mid. Do you want to make him a cross spammer? I would leave the same build as the left wing, to be honest. If you really want to use this guy on the left wing as a left footer, give him pinpoint crossing. Could have a reasonable cross on him. Certainly quite a decent one, not an amazing one. That's an option for you. But yeah, like I say, give him pinpoint crossing. I'll leave that build as it is, the same as the right wing build. But centre forward, you could make him a centre forward. SS, I would just leave him the same as attacking midfield, to be honest. But centre forward, we'll just see what auto allocation tells us. Well, that's a possibility, to be fair. I mean, the attack awareness is a bit iffy, 85. It's a bit on the low side. Finishing at 88, certainly that's not too bad at all. Very tidy on the ball, bit of pace about him. I mean, you can't really get the attack awareness much higher because you're up to 12. You need 4 points per increase beyond that. So, yeah, I don't know. He would definitely need first-time shot. But if you really want to use Nwaneri as a centre forward, I think it could be a nimble one. It could be a useful one. Could feel pretty decent up there. I don't know. Was the physical strength going to be an issue up there? They put 4 points on there, haven't they? Is it really worth it? Let's just get his attacking awareness up by 1. In fact, could we get it up by 1 more to 88? Let's give it a try. There you go. Centre forward. 88 finishing awareness. Yeah, decent option to be fair. I think he could be alright up there. Lack of physical strength, and you need to give him first time shot, but you could make him a centre forward. A small, nippy centre forward, definitely an option. But yeah, like I say, I think as an attacking mid or as a wide right player, do keep in mind the height. Like I say, if you do like your small, nimble players, the likelihood is they're going to increase his height at some point. I'm not sure it's going to increase by massively. I think from what I've read, it's going to go up by maybe a few inches, so it's not going to make a massive difference, but it could make a difference. As I mentioned earlier, Xavi Simons had that situation. I've still got a Xavi Simons card, his old GP card actually, from right at the start. It was 168 centimeters, and they put his height up by about 10 centimeters. He still feels great, but he just doesn't quite feel the same as the tiny players do. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Maybe if you like small nimble players, it could be a great opportunity to get a tiny version of Nwaneri, but you got a player who could be a neat attacking mid. But I think especially from the right wing, and in particular right midfield with the whole player playing style active, could be a really neat one. Could feel very fun on the ball. Needs a few skills, but certainly for Arsenal fans and even for people outside the Arsenal fan base, for the English League Challenge in particular, could be a neat card to pick up. And we've got another Marcus Rashford card. We've just been looking at him in the Champions League Player of the Week pack. So, got a face kind of course, prolific winger left wing this time. He's a centre forward in the Player of the Week, I think. In A form at the moment, he's been doing well for Aston Villa since he joined them on loan. Skill-wise, got a bunch of things here. Double touch, flip flap. If you give him sole control, he'll have the ball roll double touch. You got long range shooting, first time shot. You could do with long range curler really, especially coming off the left wing. So maybe it's one or two skills he needs. Long range curler, one touch pass, through passing. Maybe he's outside curler as well. So yeah, maybe it's 1 or 2 skills needed here. But let's jump over to the hub. How good is this Rashford card? It's decent. So it depends what you want from a Rashford card. As I mentioned, he's in the new Champions League Player of the Week pack. I would say that version and a previous whole player version of Rashford in Player of the Week. In terms of Player of the Week cards, those two are probably the best ones. A couple of other ones not quite so good. This one's pretty much in the middle, to be honest. It is trainable though, so you can train him however you want. You can allocate, shuffle the points around. But yeah, he's kind of been around about in the middle of the 4 Player of the Week cards he's had. We've had Showtime and Legend versions of Rashford, which are obviously are better than this one. Outside of that, trainable versions of Rashford. He's quite similar to the one from the recent Man United pack, to be honest. And we've had a few versions of Rashford highlight cards that are slightly better than this one. So it's not the best version of Rashford. It is a decent one. It's a very decent card, but yeah, if you've got a version of Rashford already that you're happy with, there's a good chance you may already have one that's better than this. It's quite a mixed boost they've given from his GP card, to be honest. Some attributes, including his pace, have had no increase at all at level 1. But he's had a nice boost on the ball, especially his tight possession. And he's got a bit of a boost on his finishing as well, and his balance. So, yeah, interesting boost on the whole. Strange in the way they've not boosted his pace at all, but he doesn't really need it, to be fair. So, yeah, all things considered, I think it's a decent boost on the whole. It's a decent looking version of Rashford. I mean, I say he doesn't need more pace. It's not just the pace, the lower body, 94 speed, 95 kicking power, 8. Stamina's it depends on how you're going to use him. I personally tend to sub all my attacking players off around the hour mark anyway, so stamina doesn't worry me too much. And certainly the speed and the kicking power are fantastic. You can nick a few points off there if you wanted to. It depends where you're going to use him though. I don't think many people would use Rashford wide right as a right footer. He's certainly not going to be putting many crosses in, with his lofted pass being terrible. Doesn't mean you can't use him on the right. You can still have him on the right and cut in and get some shots away, but I think most people would probably prefer him to coming off the left wing onto his right foot, in which case, as I mentioned before we go over to eFootball Hub, he really does need long range curler if you're going to do that. If you gave him long range curler, it could be very, very interesting as that kind of an option off the left wing. But you can also use him as a centre forward. So obviously auto allocation with his position on this card being left wing forward. That's the kind of build you got here. Let's quickly look at him as a centre forward first, and then we'll come back to left wing. So centre forward, obviously you lose a bunch of points from his on the ball attributes. Awareness 85, finishing 83, fully boosted in the game plan. Are they as high as you want to be in a centre forward? For me, absolutely not. He's got fantastic pace, and that kicking power you're going to notice behind his shots, but yeah, the awareness and finishing just aren't high enough for me. They've already gone up to 12 in dexterity and only got them to 85 attacking awareness. There aren't too many points there to be spared to kind of beef him up where he needs to be beefed up as a striker. You could take 4 off lower body there. Leave his speed and kicking power still 90 plus. Take some points off aerial. Can we get him to the 88 or attacking awareness? Yes. How high can we get his finishing? The heady heights of 84, fully boosted. No, not for me. You could get away with him. He's certainly got pace, but I think for me, you're definitely going to get the best out of this guy. This particular Rashford card is a left winger. Again, I'll take some points off lower body here because you can. He's already pretty good on the ball. I want to get that finishing up to 80. I'd like a bit more balance on him. Is it worth putting a bit more balance on him? I'm not sure. Maybe the passing could do with a bit of a boost, to be fair. I'll be tempted to do that the way passing is in the game now. Even if you gave him one touch passing through passing, I would still get the passing up a bit if possible. I think that's worth doing. Not everyone would want to do that. I think a lot of people prefer to have that crazy pace and kicking power on him. But I personally do that. Increase his passing there, got the finishing to the 80 mark. Give him long range curler, one touch pass through passing as an option off the left wing, cutting inside onto his right foot. Could be very, very useful. But like I say, it's not the best version of Rashford. We've had a bunch of versions previously that are better, both from Player of the Week and highlight cards. But we've had a few lower rated ones as well, so it's kind of middle of the road ready for a Rashford card. If you don't have a good version of him already, especially if you're a Villa fan, it could be a very nice one to pick up, a very handy one, especially for the English League Challenge. But if you've got a good version of him already, then you might not really need this one. So could be a handy card going off the left wing. I do think he needs a few skills, and I would chuff the points around a little bit. You certainly got a few you could play with from lower body as long as you don't mind the stamina dipping a bit low. But yeah, it's not an amazing version of Rashford, but it's certainly a very decent one. Could be very useful, particularly in the English League Challenge. So yeah, another solid card really. And next we've got Yukinari Sugawara, Southampton right back. He has a face scan because he's Japanese. Only standard form. He's not been playing too much, I don't think, this season. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Skill-wise, one touch through, pinball crossing, that's great going forward. Sliding, tackling, acrobatic clearance, good ones to have defensively, but could really do with interception. Maybe he's man marking and block as well. So certainly defensively, I would suggest there's 1 or 2 skills you do need there. But let's just jump over to eFootball, have a look at how good this Sugawara card is. And he's decent. We've had a few versions of him. We've had a Player of the Week card from ages ago when he was still at RZ in the Netherlands. Not a massive difference between that one and this one. This one's slightly better, if anything, to be honest. There's one in the new transfers pack when he joined Southampton. That one's not quite as good as this one, but the points are shuffled around quite a bit. That one from the new transfers pack does have +4 on tackling, to be fair. But on the whole, yeah, this one's slightly better. But there has been one version that's better than this one. That was from some kind of legend box, possibly a Japanese legend box. Slightly better than this one, but again, the points are shuffled around a bit. Not a massive difference really. So yeah, the previous versions maybe slightly better, slightly worse, but they're all roughly the same. Not a massive difference. So I'd say if you've got a version of Sugawara already, you probably don't need this one. But if you don't, this is a solid one. It's a decent looking right back. He's obviously an attacking right back. Defensively, he's okay. If you like your defensive fullbacks, bearing in mind the playing style and his defensive attributes and the physical strength, he's probably not going to quite suit you. He's not going to quite have the profile you want. But if you like an attacking fullback, the speed is fantastic. Obviously, they've gone all in on the lower body as they always do in fullbacks. But going forward, he's looking right down the left. Yeah, he's looking like a solid option. Just needs 1 or 2 defensive skills really. If you look at his GP card, look at what's been boosted. It's one of these ones where it's interesting. If you look at him auto-allocated and then you compare him to his GP card auto-allocated, there's a bit more speed and stamina on his GP card, but that's because they've allocated more points. So don't be fooled. They've not nerfed his speed and stamina. It's just how many points get allocated. But if you look at what's been boosted, his attributes, it's a fairly even boost he's had. The vast majority of attributes are up by 3 or 4 at level 1, but they've put a bit more on low and lofted pass and aggression. And interesting, they've not put anything on tackling. That's quite interesting. They've not put a single point on his tackling attribute from his GP card at level 1. Weird. But there we go. His tackling is okay, though, I would say, for an attacking fullback. So yeah, on the whole, you got a decent version of Sugawara here. I think he's a very usable attacking right back. Would I shuffle any points around? I think down the left, I'd leave it pretty much where it is. 4 points on each. You could certainly do with nicking a couple of lower body, and maybe what would we boost? You could get a couple more dexterity, and you go past them at the threshold. So you go from 86 to 88 with the second increase there. I think for a lot of people that might appeal. Some might prefer to get more physical strength on him, get him over the 70 mark physical contact. I personally would suggest maybe it's more worthwhile getting one on his defensives there. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, you could do that, put one on dexterity, and you could actually take a few away from aerial strength and get that second increase in dexterity. You go from 86 to 88 on acceleration. Not sure if that's necessarily the best thing to do with physical strength being quite important, but there's a few ways you can do that. I'd personally do that, but I personally like to focus on the attacking abilities of an attacking fullback. I like my fullbacks to get forward quite a bit, so I'd personally do that. But like I said just before, it's up to you. You might prefer to put as many points as you can on defending. You might want to beef him up in terms of his physical strength. You might want to make him better on the ball, to be honest. You could easily take a couple back from dexterity, get that dribbling up to the 80 mark. A couple more on passing, really improve his crossing. I mean, if you weren't bothered about the dribbling, you could actually get that increase on lofted pass from 86 to 88 there. You could do that. There were a very nice cross on him, in fact. That might be appealing to a lot of people. If you're spamming a lot of crosses, you use very attacking fullbacks. You can quite easily get his lofted pass to 88. He's got pinpoint crossing. Could have a very nice cross on him. So yeah, there's a few ways you could just slightly shuffle some points around there. I don't think this is an amazing card. It's not a top level one, but certainly it's a very usable one. It's a very decent attacking fullback, especially for the English League Challenge. You do have a couple of other positions. I don't think he's going to be too great as a centre-back. We'll have a look at what auto allocation says. Yeah, he's not going to be a great centre-back. Defensively, could you get away with him? Physical contact, absolutely not. And he's not particularly tall. So yeah, I don't think anyone's going to look at this guy as a sneaky centre-back. But as a right winger, what's the auto allocation going to tell us? We're basically going to take all the points off defending. And then, yeah, I was hoping to be better on the ball actually as a right midfielder. Is there much more we could do? Not really. Yeah, I don't know about a right winger. Maybe as a wing back, if you're playing like a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2, as an all-rounder down the right wing, could be a decent option for you there. As an out-and-out right winger, for me, he's not got quite enough down the right side, down that left column for me. He's not brilliant on the ball. He's certainly not bad on the ball, and his crossing will be good. That lofted pass out to 88 again. So if you just want to you want someone on the right wing, you just want to get them on the ball. You want the pace for them to get up and down the right wing and a good crossing ability. He could be an option for you. It's just as a kind of straight up cross spammer. Decent option maybe, but for me personally, like I said, I'd like just a bit more attacking awareness, a little bit more on the ball for me personally. So I'm not sure I see him as a particularly great right wing option. But like I say, if you just want pace and crossing ability, could certainly do a job for you without an active playing style, albeit. But yeah, as a right back especially, I'll just leave him on auto allocation. There's a few points you can shuffle around, maybe certainly take a few off lower body, and like I did, you could maybe get that dribbling up to 80, nudge his defensives up a bit. Maybe he's on a bit more physical strength, or you could get him up to 88 off the pass, which on an attacking fullback is fantastic. So yeah, it's not a top fullback, but it's certainly a very usable one if you like attacking fullbacks, especially for the English League Challenge. It's a decent version of Sugawara. So yeah, could be a handy card if you like an attacking fullback. And next we have Eberechi Eze, as they seem to be pronouncing it these days on commentary. So got a face scan. He's a whole player, attacking midfielder, can play on the left as well. Unwavering form, skill-wise, we've got the ball roll, double touch, a few skill moves there, acrobatic finishing, pinpoint crossing, outside curler. Really needs a bit of end product here. One touch pass, through passing, long range curler. Maybe he's long range shooting, first time shot, but certainly one touch and through. Especially if you're going to use him as an attacking midfielder, would be very, very important. So yeah, a few skills needed on this guy, but let's jump over to eFootball. We'll see how good it is, and I can tell you right off the bat, just for the fact it's an Eberechi Eze card, it's going to be good. I got the previous Premier League pack version of Eze, which must have been like a year and a half ago now, easy, a long time ago now. And I still use it in the English League Challenge. He is really nice. He's got that juice on the ball. He feels nice on the ball. You can see from the attributes, lovely on the ball attributes there. Fantastic on the ball. Decent pace here. Balance is 90. Yeah, this guy feels nice on the ball. It depends where you want to use him. Like I say, if you use him as an attacking midfielder, there is a question mark over the passing. Is the passing attribute high enough? Even with one touch passing through passing, I would want more on there. So Can we afford to spare some points from somewhere? I mean, yes. Some people might not like me taking points away from dribbling there, but I think most would agree you can certainly afford to. If you go all the way down to 8 on dribbling, you can get the passing easily up to 90 low pass. Finishing's at 80 with only 4 points on there. That's lovely. Got a point on defending. Thank you very much. 1 on low body, I guess. Shame we can't quite get up to 90 for speed. Just need a couple more points. That's annoying. But yeah, I still have the last one on aerial. Yeah, as an attacking mid, I think I'll just do that. Good pace for an attacking mid. Got a bit of kicking power behind his shots. Bounce is good. A little bit of physical strength. Still great in the ball, even after nicking a few points from there. Attacking whereas on the whole player is good. Passing got up to 90 low pass. Finishing's at 80. You give this guy one touch pass and through passing. Attacking midfielder, very, very nice. I don't tend to use attacking midfielders. I've used my version of Eze mainly on the left, but as an attacking midfielder, this looks really nice. There have been other versions of Eze. We've had a few trending cards of Eze. We had a few player of the week. We've had a player of the season. All around about the similar level to this one, to be honest. Not a massive difference. Some of them are a tiny bit better. Some of them are a tiny bit worse. Not a massive difference with any of them, to be honest, in my opinion. One of those player of the week cards was a Classic 10, though, which could make a difference to you. That's a very interesting playing style. Classic 10, I like it a lot. Classic 10, basically, they'll make attacking runs, but they won't run back. They'll just run forward and they just stay there. They just will not defend. The good thing about that is that their stamina doesn't seem to deplete. But the bad side of that is obviously they won't defend. So if you like your attacking players to track back a bit, yeah, Classic 10's not for you. But yeah, depending on whether you like that or not, you might prefer that Classic 10 version of Eze. But the other player of the week, player of the season versions, fairly similar level to this one overall. Not a massive difference with any of them. If you've got one and you're happy with it, I wouldn't say this one's worth throwing coins at, in my personal opinion. We've had a couple of trainable versions of them previously. As I mentioned, I got the one from the previous Premier League pack from quite a while ago. This one is an upgrade on that one. And there's been another one from some kind of legend box at some point. It's kind of in between. So this is the best trainable version of Eze that we've had. And what they've done from his GP card, they've boosted him mainly on his speed, his physical contact, and his finishing. That's why his finishing is going up to 80 on this one. So yeah. Certainly I noticed the speed straight away is higher than on my one. My one, the speed's up to about 84, 85, I think, something like that, which is not particularly high for wide man, but just because he's so nice on the ball, he still does great for me playing left wing. I play him as a left midfielder with that whole player playing style, and he's really, really nice on the ball, makes good runs. And yeah, like I say, you just got to give him a few skills to beef up his end product, and then you got a very nice card in your hands. So this, like I say, this is how I build him as an attack midfielder. Get that passing up to the 90 mark on low pass, give him one touch pass and through passing. I think it can be really, really nice as attacking mid. But to play him left mid, in fact, you could play him right mid as well if you position train him. He's got pinpoint crossing as well. Lofted pass is not brilliant, and you've gone up to 12 on passing with this build. So yeah, I don't know. Without his crossing being much better, even with pinpoint crossing, I'm not sure how great it'd be right mid. But if you think 81 lofted pass is okay with pinpoint crossing, certainly you could position training from the right. You could have a very neat right midfielder. But as a left midfielder, passing not so important. We don't need to worry about the crossing so much from the left. Even low pass not as important from the left wing. So we'll take a bunch of points back there from passing. And then what we're going to do, we're going to make them quicker, aren't we? Do we go for speed or acceleration? We've already got 90 balance. We're already in the 80s attacking awareness. Let's get that kicking power up. We'll go 2 on low body. I got one more increase on, I guess, balance. Or dribbling. Put it on dribbling. Yeah, I would do that. So he's got good pace, kicking power, balance, stamina as well. Still got a bit of physical strength there. Lovely on the ball. Passing, we've obviously taken some points away, but and again, I would give him one touch pass and through passing. We give him one touch pass and through passing. Low pass at 85, I think it's fine for a left midfielder. Finishing at 80. Give him long range curler. He's not really got long range curler, is he? No, he's not. I don't trust eFootball. I'm going to quickly jump back to the game and check that. Yeah, he's not got long range curler. So yeah, especially playing off the left wing, I'll give him long range curler as well as one touch pass and through passing. But with all these attributes, this kind of a build, very, very nice. It is an upgrade in the one that I've got. Is it worth me spending this patch just for this card? It does tempt me, I've got to be honest, because I do really like Eze. I think most people who've got a version of Eze will say the same. He's a really good card. He's one of these cards where you can see from the stats that he's good, but it's always the case in the game that you've got to get someone on the pitch and try them to really find out how good they are for you. Sometimes players can surprise you, and Eze is just one of those cards, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions, he's got that something about him. He feels really nice. It's a good card. So yeah, this for me, I think it's going to be one of the more attractive cards in the pack for a lot of people. Whether you build him this kind of way and put him wide left, whether you play him attacking mid, he does need a few skills to beef up his end product. But yeah, it's an Eze card. It's a very good Eze card. It's certainly the best trainable we've had. If they ever do a Showtime, that's going to be a hell of a card. But yeah, up to this point, the best trainable version we've had. We have had some very decent Player of the Week cards, in which case, if you've got one of those, you might not need this one. But if you've not got a good version of Eze, if you've not got one that's as good as this, I imagine this would be a very nice card to have. It's quite tempting to me, even though I've got a version that's not far off it. So yeah, through the middle, wide left, give him a few skills. It's going to be a really, really nice card to have. And now we've got Pervis Estupiñán from Brighton. Got a face scan, got an attacking fullback. Left-footed, is on D at the moment, unfortunately. Only standard form. Skill-wise, we are lacking. Interception is one of the most important ones on the fullback. We could do a few more. Maybe it's 1 or 2 defensive skills. Maybe it's pinpoint crossing for getting forward because he is an attacking fullback. So we could do with 1 or 2 skills there. But let's have a look at how good he is. We'll train him up on eFootball Hub. And he's decent. So we've had a Player of the Week version of Estupiñán. We've had 2 actually. This is better. This is better than both his Player of the Week cards. He's been in a previous Premier League pack, and this is a significant upgrade. If you look at the overall rating, this one goes about 4 higher than the previous version of Estupiñán from a Premier League pack, but that's mainly from his on the ball and passing. Outside of these attributes, there's not a lot of difference. This is the one area where he goes +4 overall, basically. The rest, not a massive difference from his previous one, but these are important attributes in an attacking fullback, though. We had one trainable version in some kind of legend box, slightly better than this one, but not a massive difference really. And he's had a fairly mixed boost from his GP card. And to be honest, the biggest boost they've given to any of his attributes are set pieces, which is pretty useless. So the one attribute, the 2 attributes they've really boosted more than any, place kicking and curl. That's a bit of a shame really. I mean, they could have put them somewhere else. Why not boost his tight possession? I've mentioned a few times with this guy, when I reviewed his Player of the Week cards and similar Player of the Week cards, tight possession being that low, you are going to notice that. I got one of his Player of the Week cards, and I played him a couple of times, and you really noticed that. He got caught on the ball a couple of times where he just couldn't turn, and I ended up releasing him because I just couldn't be bothered with him. It was frustrating just for that attribute alone. So you will notice that. Keep that in mind. Be careful with him when you're on the ball and you're twisting and turning. But apart from that, though, the ball control and dribbling are decent for a fullback. Low and lofted pass are good. 84 and 85. That's good on a fullback, and there's only 4 points on his passing attributes, so that's good. Defensively, the awareness is a bit dodgy. That's a bit on the low side, but the other ones are good. Pace is good. He's got a bit of physical strength. Balance isn't brilliant. Stamina 95 is fantastic. So yeah, there's a lot to be said for this card. There's 1 or 2 slight concerns. That defensive awareness, not great balance, and poor tight possession. Interception, the only defensive skill he's got, and he needs pinpoint crossing going forward as well. So there are a few areas where there's a bit of a concern, but if you gave him 1 or 2 skills, just be careful with that tight possession. I think you could be a pretty solid attacking forward, to be honest. As I always say, I don't think you need that much speed on an attacking fullback or any fullback. I personally feel like you can nick a couple of points from there, and then it depends what you want to beef up. You want to make him more aggressive, you can get his aggression up to 90. If you're not too worried about that, you can beef him up on the ball a bit, get that tight possession up a bit, or you could get his physical contact up to 80. That could be interesting. A few ways you could do it. You've got a few points that you can spare, I think. Shuffle them around a little bit. I wouldn't do anything too major. I'd be quite tempted just to do that, to be honest, make him a bit stronger physically. But yeah, you got another tidy fullback, quite similar to Sugawara, really. Not entirely the same profile as Sugawara, but similar situation. He's not a top level fullback, this guy, by any means, but if you give him 1 or 2 skills, you've certainly got a lot of qualities. He's very much an attacking fullback. Without defensive awareness, I'm not sure how effective he'd be if you use him defensively. If you were going to put the defensive instruction on him, hold him back, yes, you can get the physical contact up to 80, but is the defensive awareness high enough to use him in that way? I'm not sure. I think he's very much an attacking fullback. And he's actually got a couple of positions. Just before I forget, we could try and make him a sneaky centre back. What we're thinking? I'm thinking no. Yeah, the defensive awareness is too low for centre back. He's not physically strong either, so yeah, we're not going to get a sneaky centre back out of him. Can you make him much of a left winger? I mean, the tight possession sucks. So again, all the points come away from defending. I don't know. If you gave him pinpoint crossing, you'd have a hell of a cross on him. That's one thing that you got to say about this guy. I'd be tempted to nick a couple of flow body and get the balance up to 80. yeah, I'll do that. You get more attacking awareness on him as well. You could do that. You could make him a left winger. Again, like with Sugawara, if your main focus on the left winger is just to have pace and crossing from the left wing with his left foot, give him pinball crossing, he could certainly do a job for you in that way. But like I said with Sugawara, I'd like a bit more from him on the ball, especially with tight possession. He's not got much of a finish on him. He's not got amazing balance. So yeah, maybe as a wing back with a bit of everything, could do a job for you there. But I think for most people, you're looking very much as an attacking left back here. And he's got a lot of qualities, a lot to be said for him. He does need 1 or 2 skills, 1 or 2 attributes a bit on the low side. So he's not a top left back, but especially for that English League challenge, he could certainly be a solid option. He's not an amazing left back, but he's a very, very usable one. Very decent. And now it's my guy Bruno. We've got Bruno Guimarães from Newcastle, orchestrator, got a face scan. Probably needs a face scan updated. They need to give him his blonde hair. He's always dyeing his hair blonde. Unwavering form. On D, apparently. Oh, yeah, we got smashed by Villa, didn't we? Normally gets pretty good form though, Bruno. Skill-wise, he does always need 1 or 2 skills. So one touch pass and interception will be the 2 most important ones for me. You could maybe give him 1 or 2 more defensive skills, depending on how you're going to use him. But certainly he does need 1 touch pass. And at least interception. Got a few skills. Soul control, and nice one to have. Weighted pass, outside card. Yeah, got decent section skills there, but like I say, 1 and 2 needed. 1 touch pass and interception, the most important ones. But let's just have a look at how well this card trains up on eFootball. And it's a pretty good version of Bruno. So again, he's been in the Premier League pack before. It does annoy me that they put cards in these packs that we've seen previously. I mean, especially for me as a Newcastle fan, I've already got 2 Bruno cards. I don't need another one. I prefer a bit more variety, but I do need to make these packs good and put the better players in. And obviously, if you've not been playing the game for too long, then it doesn't really matter if they've been in the packs before. So yeah, bit annoying for me, and I guess for anyone else who's been playing the game a while, you don't want to keep seeing the same players over and over. But this is a good Bruno card. He's around about similar level to his Player of the Week cards. One of those was an anchor man, and there's been a couple of orchestrators as well. But in terms of overall ability, pretty similar. We've had quite a few highlights of Bruno trainable cards, and this is comparable to the better ones, to be honest. The most recent versions of Bruno are around about the same, really. It's just one that goes 1 higher, but not a massive difference, really. It's just another good, solid Bruno card. If you've got the previous one from a Premier League pack, which I do, again, roughly the same. This one's got more speed than the previous one, but the previous one's got a little bit more passing. So yeah, it just depends on where your priorities lie. I think you can certainly afford to lose a bit of passing. Still over 90 here. Bit more speed on him does help. He's not the quickest, but yeah, if you got that previous one, in my opinion, don't need this one. So that's good news for me, because that's one less pack that I need to spend coins on, unless I end up going for the new Eze card. But yeah, it's pretty much par for the course for a Bruno card in terms of recent versions of him. It's a good card. If you've got a good version of Bruno already, you probably don't need this one, really. Otherwise, it's a very nice looking card. As you can see, tidy on the ball, great passing, defensively fairly strong. Just a little bit lacking there with the physical contact and balance. Depends how you're going to use him, but you may well feel that you'd like one or two, or maybe both of those to be a bit higher physical contact and balance. Bit of a boost on the speed, like I say, that is something they boosted, I think. Yeah, speed is the biggest boost from his GP card. It's a fairly mixed boost, but speed has had the biggest boost. He's got stamina over 90, so yeah, you've got a really solid orchestrator here. Like I say, he does need 1 or 2 skills. You give him 1 touch pass and interception, and then you've got a guy you could use either as a defensive mid or as a centre mid. Could be very, very handy. I am biased. I have to try not to be biased when I'm looking at Newcastle players, but he's always been very nice for me. I like using his Player of the Week Anchorman card, actually. A very nice card. But I've also got the Orchestrator from a previous Premier League pack, and it's very neat, but got a bit of everything. In my opinion, you can shuffle points around a little bit. I'm looking at the physical contact and balance. I'd like them to be around the 80 mark. I'd like him to be a bit better on the ball, to be honest. I feel like he deserves to be around the 90 mark ball control, but maybe that's biased, I don't know. But yeah, we can nick a couple off passing there, leave it at 90 low pass. Let's do an all-round build first. In fact, no, we'll start with the defensive build. Let's just start by... In fact, he's already on 12 for defending. This is the defensive build, okay. So the most defensive build, we'll just beef up his physical contact there. And then even more. I think that's what I'll do. That's annoying, actually. We're 1 away from getting that double increase at the 86 mark on ball control and tight possession. Let's nick 1 back from aerial. We can do that. I think that's worth doing. That's efficient, yeah. So if I'm going to play him as a DMF and I want him to be able to do his share of the defensive work, I think I'd do that. Again, it's not a massive change from the auto allocation. We've gone past 80 physical contact there. Nudged his on the ball ability a little bit up a bit. up a little bit. So the ball control and tap possession, we've got that double increase from 86 to 88, which is nice. I would do that. I think that'd be very tidy as a defensive mid. As more of an all-round build if we move them up the pitch a bit. So defending not as important. We'll leave the tackling at 80. So we'll go 8 on defending. So at least at 80 tackling. So he's not as strong defensively now, but this is moving him up the pitch. We're focusing more on his ability on the ball. So let's get him 90 ball control. In fact, we'll get 90s across the board there. 90 plus all his on the ball attributes. Bit more attacking awareness, please. What takes that physical strength back? Now up to 80 attacking awareness. Hello. And we're just one shy of 70 finishing, but that's fine. In fact, we can do that. Boom. So, yeah, I would probably do that. I think a lot of people would probably prefer the passing to be higher. The way the game is now, since the recent update, the passing attributes are extra important. So I personally would do this as an all-round build. Very nice on the ball now. Attacking awareness at 80 and defense awareness over 80. I always say this when we get a card like this. There aren't that many midfielders apart from the really beefy legend ones. But outside of that, when you're looking at the league packs and player of the week, it's not often you get a midfielder who's got attacking awareness and defensive awareness over 80. I like that a lot on my midfielders. So if you shuffle the points around the way I have done here, I think that's a pretty nice build as an all-rounder in the middle of the park. And then on the ball, we've got a 90 plus. They're all three of those still at 90 low pass. Nudges finishing to 70, not going to make a huge difference. He can still do a bit of defensive work. Got a bit of aggression on him. That's very realistic. He loves to go around charging into people a bit. Bruno, a bit of a hothead. Bit more pace than he normally has. Got the bounce over 80, stamina 90. Yeah, as an all-rounder, I like that build. But like I say, some people would prefer more passing. So what I'll do now, I'll just nudge his passing up. And we'll do more of an attacking mid build. So if we were going to say he's playing higher up the pitch, we're not too bothered about the physicals. Maybe we could take some off the defending. Yeah, let's just do a more attacking build. If you could position Chambers as an attacking mid, no active playing style. I know a lot of people don't like that at all, but I don't personally mind it. Would I just do that? I think that's high enough in passing, to be honest. I mean, if you really want to beef up his passing, you can do that. You can get him right up to 96 low pass. If you really want to focus on the passing, and through passing right now is kind of, I wouldn't say it's the meta, but obviously they put so much more emphasis on passing now, and through balls are really getting through. If you did a build like that, either as a centre mid, as a deep line playmaker, playing those through balls from deep, which some people are doing, or if you want to position Chambers as an attacking midfielder, even with no points on his defending or his physicals, he's still got a bit of physical strength, he's still got a little bit of defensive ability, but going forward, getting him on the ball, picking a pass with a bit of attack awareness as well, he could be deadly. He could be really, really effective. So, yeah, you could do a build like that if you wanted to as well. And again, one-touch pass, very important. So, yeah, a couple of ways you could train this guy. With a very attacking build like that, could be very, very effective with his passing. The all-round build that I did would be what I would do. Put him in a double pivot could be very, very nice. Or you could do the initial build that we had, which is not far from the auto allocation, where you can definitely do a bit of defensive work. Could be very effective in some kind of double pivot or something like that. In terms of other positions that he's got, wide midfielder, it's saying 101 as a wide midfielder. Don't know about that. Can we make a wide midfielder? I've never thought about Bruno Guimarães as a wide man. We'll leave the low pass at 90. And I guess we need pace, don't we? Bit of dexterity as well. What do we go for? Speed or dexterity? Let's go for speed. I mean, do you want to use Bruno as a wide man? You could do, I guess. You won't have an active playing style. You can give him a little bit of pace. I mean, I don't know. It's a weird one for me. You give him pinpoint crossing, it'd be a handy right winger. Get him on the ball, whips and crosses him. With pinpoint crossing, he could be an effective right winger. I don't think many people are going to look at Bruno Guimarães and want to do that, to be honest. But you could do that. He could be an effective right winger. And then likewise from the left wing, give him a long range curler. Finishing's not great though. Don't know. Yeah, I don't think many people are going to look at this guy as a wide man. Maybe as a right midfielder, whipping crosses in could be effective. But the only other position he's got is centre back. Surely we're not going to make Bruno Guimarães a glitchy centre back, are we? Not far off it, to be fair. I mean, it's just the physical contact. Obviously, he's going to be horrific in the air. What's the vertical reach? 255. Yeah. Imagine coming up against Jan Koller with this guy at centre back. Don't think so, but certainly he's very nice on the ball for a centre back. He's pretty strong down the middle, but yeah, lack of physical strength, horrendous in the air. Don't think so. Yeah, but I think in his main positions, this Bruno Guimarães card, you can use him in pretty much any area of the middle of the park there. You can use him as a defensive mid, but give him an all-round build as a centre mid like I did. or we can give him a more attacking build and really give him some crazy passing stats. Any of those kinds of role. Obviously, you won't have an active playing style as an attacking mid, but as a centre mid or DMF with that orchestrated playing style as a kind of deep line playmaker. Like I say, it doesn't stand out massively compared to previous versions. It's not miles better than the kind of recent versions of Bruno that we've had. But it's a very good version of Bruno. If you don't already have a version of Bruno Guimarães that's as good as this, then it could be a very good card to have, and I think it can fit into most midfield systems. There's probably a degree of bias in what I'm saying, but yeah, as a midfielder, a few ways you can build him. I think it could be a very, very handy card for people to pick up as a midfield option. Next up is Jadon Sancho from Chelsea, on loan from Man U. Got a face scan, prolific winger, left wing, inconsistent form, bit of a downer. What have we got skill-wise? Double touch, flip flap, soul control. You got your ball on double touch there. You got a bunch of skill moves there. Long range curler, heel trick, one touch pass, pinball crossing out to goal. You got some good skills here for a winger. Through passing is probably the first one I'd like to put on him. Outside of that, I don't think he desperately needs anything really. So he's looking pretty good for skills as a winger. Let's train him up. Let's see how good he is on eFootball Hub. He's pretty decent. Obviously very nice on the ball there. Decent pace, certainly acceleration, good balance as well. Yeah, it's a pretty solid looking Sancho card. Better player of the week version of Sancho a while back. Had a booster before the boost, pretty similar to this one. With the boost, mainly the finishing and speed are better on the player of the week card. This one's a bit better on the ball than player of the week card, though. They often nerf cards in player of the week, wingers and the like on the ball for whatever reason. But yeah, with the booster, overall player of the week card's a bit better, but this one a bit better on the ball, and you might feel that's more important, but you do get a bit more finishing speed on the player of the week card when he's boosted. In terms of highlight cards, the highest rated highlight cards we've had from an old Man United pack and from some kind of legend box, but there's not a massive difference really, so it's looking pretty good as a trainable version of Sancho. There's not a lot of difference from the two previous Premier League packs. He's been in two Premier League packs previously. Again, the lack of variety annoys me a bit. We've seen him in Premier League packs twice before when he was at Man U. The stats were shuffled around a bit on both those previous ones, but yeah, not a lot of difference in terms of the overall ability really. The one attribute that boosted the most from his GB card is his kicking power. Apart from that, pretty mixed boost really. So yeah, it's a solid version of Sancho. Like I said, with the skills, you've got good selection of skills there. I think he just needs through passing, and then you've got a pretty tidy winger here. He's got pretty good pace. I'd like the speed to be 90 plus, but you're not far off it. Very decent attacking awareness, fantastic on the ball there. He's not got much of a lofted pass. He's got pinpoint crossing, hasn't he? I'm just going to jump back to the game. I always forget this with Sancho. Yeah, he's got pinpoint crossing, but lofted pass 74. Yeah, he's not going to put many crosses in for me. You could put him on the right. Could you beef that passing up, make him a right winger? I mean, you could. How good can you make his crossing? I don't think I'll go past 8 actually on passing. So yeah, 78 lofted pass, 79 curl, 82 kicking power. His crossing, even with pinpoint crossing, was not gonna be too great. So as a right winger, not so sure. I think for most people, you're gonna look at this guy as a left winger, cutting in onto his right foot. I would maybe do that, get that finishing up to 80. Yeah, I think straight away that's what I'll do. I think that's the build I'll do with Sancho, to be honest. It'd be nice if we could have got that speed up to 90, but we've sacrificed a few points off his on the ball attributes there. With a low pass at 80, got the finishing up to 80, with long range curler coming onto his right foot, bit of pace, good on the ball, good balance. Yeah, it could be pretty handy. Like I said, I wouldn't really use him on the right. I don't think his crossing would be good enough, but coming off the left wing, I think he could be pretty decent. Just given the through passing skill, I think he could be good to go. It could be a very handy left wing option. Would you play him in the middle? I don't think you can make his passing quite good enough to be an attacking mid. We'll see what the auto allocation says though. So yeah, interesting auto allocation. So the auto allocation for an attacking midfielder is left his low pass 84 with all those points on his dribbling. Let's just see if we can do something better than auto allocation. I don't trust the game with the auto allocation a lot of the time. Would I do anything else? No. Just nick one there, get his speed up a little bit. In fact, it might even be worth taking 2 more from there and getting his kicking power to 80. Yeah. You could maybe just get away with him as an attacking mid. Like I say, through passing on an attacking mid is super, super important. 88, bit iffy for low pass. I think you can get away with that if you do give him through passing. Still good on the ball, good attack awareness, good pace for an attacking midfielder, and balance as well. You could use him there, but again, as I said when we were looking at Nwaneri, lack of physical strength on an attacking midfielder is not one of the first attributes you look at. on an attacking midfielder, but in that area of the pitch, you're going to be coming up against strong players physically. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's worth making this guy an attacking mid. SS would be a similar story. So I think you're very much looking at this guy in his registered position as a left winger, cutting in onto his right foot, pace good on the ball. I personally would take some points from his on the ball attributes and beef up his finishing a bit. Really make the most of the long range curler skill, but it's entirely up to you whether you do that. Whichever way you do it, I think it's a solid version of Sancho. It's not the best version we've had, but it's not the worst either. It's just a solid Sancho card. So maybe it's a good one for Chelsea fans to pick up, and maybe especially a useful one to pick up for the English League Challenge. It's not an amazing card, doesn't overly excite me, but it does look very decent. I think it just needs a through passing skill, and then he could be good to go. You have a very decent winger option on your hands. And our goalie, we have got Alisson from Liverpool. So he does, of course, have a face scan. He's an attacking goalkeeper. Only got standard form. That's a bit harsh. Low punt and long throw. Let's get straight to it. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub. How good is this Alisson guard? Pretty damn good. So he's fairly tall, 6'3", reach over 90. The awareness is fantastic at 94. Reflex at 92. Catching's kind of okay. Parrying's very decent. Yeah, it's a good Alisson card, this. He's up there with the better versions that we've had of Alisson. It's probably, I would say, there's one Player of the Week card and one trainable highlight from some kind of legend box that may be slightly better, but really not a lot of difference overall, to be honest. This one's up there with the better versions of Alisson that we've had. He's a really solid card. You could, can you get all his attributes to 90? You can certainly get the parrying to 90. If we take the points away from jumping, because according to Player of the Week, we don't need that. Nick those points off there, leave the awareness at 90. What have we got left? 13. Oh, yeah, we can. There you go. 90 across the board. Yikes. And then he gets physical contact up to 70. How exciting. Yeah, you could do that if you like all your goalie attributes to be 90 plus. I mean, reflex is 96, reach 92. Crikey. Yeah, that's a pretty good goalkeeper. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, there's different ways you could do it. If you're not too bothered about the catching, you don't mind leaving that. Maybe you could just leave that at the 88 mark where you get a double boost from 86 to 88. And then you could put 2 on, I guess, back on awareness maybe. I'd be tempted to do that personally. I think I'd probably do that. It's up to you. You can swing it whichever way you want to. But yeah, on the whole, it's just a really good goalkeeper guide. It's one of the better versions of Alisson that we've had. For the English League Challenge, fantastic option. But just in general, for divs, for whatever else, your Brazil squad, unless you've got some of the real beefy double booster legends like your Schmeichels, your Czechs and so on, outside of those goalkeepers, this is a really, really good option. It's one of the better goalkeepers you're going to get from one of these coin packs. So yeah, not much more to be said really. It's just it's one of the better versions of Alisson, and you always know that Alisson, when you get a highlight version of Alisson or Player of the Week or whatever, it's going to be a good one, and it's one of the better ones. So yeah, fantastic goalie. And we finish up with Micky van der Ven from Spurs. So build-up centre-back, got a face scan, only standard form. Skill-wise, we need interception. That's the one skill he always seems to lack. So we've got man marking, blocker, aerial superiority. Could do with acrobatic clearance as well. Heading again, is heading that important? That's up to you. I don't personally think it's that important, but certainly you could do with it if you can spare the skill trainers. But the most important ones, interception, absolutely crucial. And I think acrobatic clearance will be well worth putting on him. After that, I would look to give him maybe 1 or 2 passing skills. You might want to put heading on him as well. But interception and acrobatic clearance for me are the first 2 I'd look to put on him. But let's have a look at how good he is. Let's train him up on eFootball Hub. He is pretty good. So we've had a bunch of versions of Van der Ven at this point. We've had 4 Player of the Week cards. One of them is a left back. Kind of hard to compare to that one. I mean, that one as a left back is better than this one. If you train this guy as a left back, as you can see, he absolutely stinks on the ball. That Player of the Week left back card is better. But yeah, as a centre back, the other Player of the Week cards not as good as this one. This one is better. We've had a Showtime version that's better than this one. But to be honest, this one's looking a bit better defensively and a bit more physical contact. The Showtime version seems to have a really nice boost down the left column and a bit more jumping and acceleration. It's also got Destroyer playing style. So yeah, that Showtime version overall does look better, unsurprisingly. But if you really look into the stats, you might prefer this one to the Showtime card even. There's one in the recent Dutch pack. That wasn't as good as this one either. This looked like a good version of Van der Ven. I got a version from remember that contract renewal pack when the big update came out last year. We got free spins from our contract renewal tokens. This is an upgrade on that one, apart from the jumping. Looks like the jumping was better on that one that I've got. Apart from that, though, this looks like an upgrade. This is looking like a good version of Van de Ven. Looking at what they boost from his GP card, pretty mixed boost, but the one attribute they boosted loads is jumping. They put 10 on his jumping. Interesting that one and two previous versions have got better jumping. I think one of the Player of the Week versions does, and that previous highlight does as well, even though this one's better. So yeah, maybe they've nerfed the jumping on his GP card at some point, but that's the one they boosted the most on this card compared to his current GP card, plus 10 on jumping. And yeah, he's looking like a solid version of Van de Ven, as you can see down the middle. Absolute beast defensively. 90 speed in the centre back, fantastic. 90 physical contact. Then jumping 78. What's the vertical reach going to be? He's about 6'4", so he's a decent height. 273. Okay, so his vertical reach isn't too bad. It's not amazing, but it's not too bad. Yeah, he just needs a few skills. I mean, would you leave him auto allocation? I think a fair few people just leave him there. They've got great speed there. The acceleration is not amazing, but it's higher than it has been. That's one thing where the version of Van de Ven that I've got is nowhere near that for acceleration. So acceleration decent enough, but certainly with 90 speed. So he's got good pace for a centre back overall. Stamina's fine. Physical strength down the middle, he's a beast. Down the left though, there are other versions of Van de Ven that are better on the ball. He's not great on the ball. His passing is not great. So is that the most important thing on a centre back? No, but it might still concern some people. I do prefer my centre backs to be a bit better on the ball than that. We do have points to play with, so I guess the question is, do you want to spare some points from defending? I mean, straight away, 14 on defending. As I always say, all these attribute groups, the increases are in groups of 4. So the first 4 is up by 1, the next 4 is 2 points each, and the next 4 is 3. So on defending at 14, that means the last 2 increases on defending were 4 points each. So we just take 2 off there, 8 points to play with, and he's still a beast defensively. I'll take those 8 points, thank you very much. Where are we going to put him? You could put him more straight on dexterity. 90 speed, 80 acceleration. I think, to be honest, for a lot of people, that might be it. Fantastic. For me personally, I don't think he needs that much more dexterity. I'll be more inclined to beef up his jumping a bit, make him a bit more of a... give him a bit more vertical reach. I mean, he only up to 276 there. It is an increase. An increase is an increase. Is that worth doing? Maybe. If you're worried about the cross-spammers, players who've got the likes of Colo, Lorenzo, Luca, whoever else is up front, maybe you'd want to do that. There's different ways you can do it. You could spare even more points from defending if you wanted to. You could easily go all the way down there, down to 9. That's another 9 points to play with. There you go. Get the acceleration to 80 as well. Another point on goalkeeper 1. If you really want to round him out, you could do that. Depends how you want to play it. Personally, as long as the defense is 90 plus, I think you're still all right. We are getting into kind of with the way the power creep's been going, we're into the kind of territory of maybe needing a little bit more than that in defending possibly. But certainly for now, I'm still happy enough being around the 90 mark and all his defensive attributes. But depends how you want to play it. Even if you want to stick on auto allocation, if you don't mind the vertical reach being what it is, you don't really need more acceleration. Obviously, he's an absolute monster defensively with the auto allocation. So yeah, and physical strength at 90, speed at 90. This is a really good version of Van de Ven. As I showed you initially when I was comparing to Player of the Week cards, I wouldn't use him as a left back. Not a chance. He's just horrible on the ball. But as a centre back, if you don't mind the fact he's not great on the ball, you could shuffle some points around. Depends how you want to play it, but you've got fantastic speed. He's physically strong. Defensively, he's a monster. If you want to, you've got enough points in defending if you want to beef up his acceleration, maybe his physicals, his vertical reach, but whatever way you want to play it, he just needs a few skills. If you give him those skills, especially interception, it's a very, very handy centre-back card, this. So there's your Premier League pack. I think it's a decent one. As I mentioned a couple of times, the one real downside with this pack, and I'm just speaking as someone who's been playing this game since the beginning, is that they're putting cards in that we've seen before. I love when you see the cards like Nwaneri and Khusanov, the ones we've not seen before, the ones we've just not seen that often. Sugawara, we've only had a few versions of him. But seeing players like Estupiñán, Bruno, Van de Ven, Sancho, there's a bunch of players in here we've seen before. And I mean, in some cases more than once. We've seen Sancho twice in Premier League packs previously. Do we really need to see these players again and again? It's tough. If you're new to the game, then you're not going to mind that because you won't have seen those previous packs. And I think these packs are aimed primarily at people who haven't been playing the game for too long, because people who've been playing the game for a while usually have ended up with a pretty strong squad with a bunch of legends and so on. So I do understand that, but that's the one downside to me. I'd like a bit more variety, freshen it up a bit. But just to look at it objectively in terms of how good the cards are, I think it's a pretty good pack. Ünal, I think, is a solid all-rounder as a centre forward. Khusanov, very usable centre-back. Nwaneri could be a neat one, especially if you want to pick up a tiny version of him before they increase his height at some point. Rashford, just another Rashford card, but it's certainly a, if you like Rashford, it's a very decent card. Sugawara and Estupiñán, neither of those cards are amazing, but they're very usable fullbacks, especially as options for the English League Challenge. Eze, fantastic. In my experience, I've got a version that's not as good as this, and I love it. So that card to me looks like a really nice one. Sancho, I've never really got on with him when I've used him. I don't think he feels bad. He's just never felt special to me. But certainly when you look at the attributes and the skills, just needs through passing really. Could be a very useful a winger. Bruno, you've got a few different ways you can use him, different kind of midfield roles you can give him, but it looks like a very tidy card. That Van der Ven, very tidy centre back, and then Becker, fantastic goalie. So yeah, there are certainly some good cards in, and they're not all brilliant, but I think on the whole it's a pretty solid pack. So let me know your thoughts. It'd be interesting to know what you think of the pack. Hopefully you found this useful. As I mentioned a couple of times on the last few videos, I am going to try and do a review of the recent additions to the penalty game box, whatever you want to call it, with Vitor Bayer and Serginho, not Zeriberto as I mistakenly said initially, but yeah, I will be doing a video reviewing those players as well, so keep your eyes out for that one. I'll try and do 1-2 streams as well, and yeah, outside of that, enjoy the rest of your weekends. Thank you for watching. Hope you found this useful, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.